A very good morning. Just past 10 by the clock. We are back again with another edition of News on the Hour. This is your one-stop show, your comprehensive weekend show where we get you all the latest from the field of politics, business, sports, entertainment. We'll get you a comprehensive 1 hour of action as we get you news, cutting all the noise, getting news as it happens on ground zero. I'm Anil Thomas. Let's get started this Saturday morning with the top stories at the top of this hour. President Nath Kovind to grace the Swachh Amrit Divas ceremony to honor the awardees of Swachh Survekshan 2021 at the Swachh Amrit Mahotsav organized by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs in New Delhi. The ceremony will award cleaner cities of the country and will also pay tribute to sanitation workers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends 56th Conference of Director Generals of Police and Inspector Generals of Police at Lucknow today. The two-day conference being held in a hybrid format will see DGPs of states and union territories and heads of Central Armed Police Forces and Central Police Organizations in attendance. Heavy rains wreak havoc in the southern states of the country. South Central Railway cancelled several trains. Power outages in Andhra Pradesh. Heavy rains forecasted for Bengaluru and parts of Telangana. Waterlogging rampant in Karnataka. In international news, Belgium tightens coronavirus restrictions, mandating wider use of masks and enforcing work from home as cases spike. Austria to go into full lockdown. Dutch police fires warning shots and uses water cannon after rioting erupted in Rotterdam over new COVID-19 measures. In sports, India defeated New Zealand by 7 wickets, powered by half-centuries from captain Rohit Sharma and deputy KL Rahul. Clinched the 3-match series to 0. Final game to be played on Sunday. In Rotterdam over new COVID-19. And the 52nd International Film Festival of India all set to begin at Goa from today. Festival to showcase more than 300 films from across the world. For the first time ever, films from 5 BRIC nations to be showcased through the BRICS Film Festival. Well, those were the top stories. Now for the stories in detail, starting first up with the president there. President Nath Kovind will grace the Swachh Amrit Divas ceremony at the Swachh Amrit Mahotsav organized by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs in the national capital. The president will felicitate the awardees of Swachh Survekshan 2021 in line with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision to make all cities in India garbage free. Under the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0, cities certified under the star rating protocol for garbage-free cities will also be awarded at the ceremony. During the event, sanitation workers will also be felicitated under the Safai Mitra Suraksha Challenge campaign launched earlier by the ministry. Union Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs Hardeep Singh Puri, Minister of State for Housing and Urban Affairs Kaushal Kishore and other dignitaries will attend the ceremony. Shifting to Prime Minister's event, the 56th Conference of Director Generals of Police, that's DGPs and IGs, Inspector Generals of Police, have begun at the police headquarters in Lucknow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is attending the two-day event. The two-day conference is taking place in a hybrid format. DGPs of states and union territories and heads of Central Armed Police Forces and Central Police Organizations are attending the conference physically at the venue in Lucknow. The conference aims to discuss a wide range of issues including cybercrime, data governance, counterterrorism challenges, left-wing extremism, emerging trends in narcotics trafficking, police reforms, among others. Since 2014, the Prime Minister has taken a keen interest in the DGP conference. He makes it a point to attend all sessions of the conference and encourages free and informal discussions that provide an opportunity to top police officials to directly brief the Prime Minister on the key policing and internal security issues affecting the nation. Moving on, in a huge thrust to Atmanirbhar Bharat in the defense sector, Prime Minister Narendra Modi formally handed over indigenously designed and developed equipments to Armed Forces Service Chiefs in a special function in Jhansi on Friday evening. These include light combat helicopter, drones, UAVs, and advanced electronic warfare suit for naval ships. Prime Minister also launched many programs which will go a long way to augment the defense capabilities of the nation and further improve the defense infrastructure. More in this detailed report.
मैं तीर्थ स्थली वीरों की, मैं क्रांतिकारियों की काशी, मैं हूं झांसी, मैं हूं झांसी, मैं हूं झांसी, मैं हूं झांसी.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi invoking the valor and bravery of Rani Lakshmibai as he launched and dedicated to the nation multiple initiatives of the defense sector in Rashtriya Raksha Samarpan Parv as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations in Jhansi on Friday. The Prime Minister made the special reference to Rani of Jhansi as he bowed to the land of great freedom fighters and martyrs.
झांसी ने तो आजादी की अलग जगाई हती. इतई की माटी के कन कन में वीरता और देश प्रेम बसो है. झांसी की वीरांगना रानी लक्ष्मीबाई जी को हमाओ कोटि कोटि नमन.
Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone of the 400 crore rupee project at Jhansi node of UP Defence Industrial Corridor. The project is being executed by Bharat Dynamics Limited for setting up a plant to produce propulsion systems for anti-tank guided missiles.
झांसी में एंटी टैंक मिसाइल के लिए उपकरण बनेंगे जिनसे सीमाओं पर हमारे जवानों को नई ताकत, नया विश्वास, और इसका परिणाम सीधा सीधा यही होगा कि देश की सीमाएं और ज्यादा सुरक्षित होगी.
Prime Minister formally handed over indigenously designed and developed equipments to Armed Forces Service Chiefs. These include HAL designed light combat helicopter to Chief of Air Staff, drones and UAVs to the Vice Chief of Army Staff, and DRDO designed and Bharat Electronics Limited manufactured advanced electronic warfare suite for naval ships to the Chief of Naval Staff.
ये ऐसा लाइट कॉम्बैट हेलीकॉप्टर है जो करीब 16,500 फीट की ऊंचाई पर उड़ सकता है. ये नए भारत की ताकत है, आत्मनिर्भर भारत की उपलब्धि है, जिसकी साक्षी हमारी ये वीर झांसी बन रही है.
Prime Minister also emphasized the fact that 100 new Sainik schools have been approved, and admission of girl children in these institutions will go a long way in empowering women in India.
भविष्य में देश की रक्षा के लिए सक्षम युवाओं के लिए जमीन भी तैयार हो रही है. ये 100 सैनिक स्कूल जिनकी शुरुआत होगी, ये आने वाले समय में देश का भविष्य ताकतवर हाथों में देने का काम करेंगे.
Among the programs that Prime Minister launched is the National Program for Simulation Training for NCC cadets. It includes setting up of rifle firing simulators for the Army Wing of NCC, simulators for Air Wing of NCC, and rowing simulators for Naval Wing. Prime Minister also launched the NCC Alumni Association with the objective to provide a formal platform to enable NCC alumni to connect with the NCC. It witnessed the enrolling of the Prime Minister, a former NCC cadet, as the first member of the association. Prime Minister added that Indian warriors did not lose any war due to lack of courage, but were undone by the inferior weapons and resources. He stressed that the need of the hour is to make available the best weapons and systems to our Jawans. Prime Minister also dedicated to the nation augmented reality-powered electronic kiosks at the National War Memorial, which will enable visitors to pay floral homage to martyrs through the simple click of a button. Apart from defense-related programs, Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone of 600 megawatt ultra-mega solar power park at Garota in Jhansi. Prime Minister also inaugurated the Atal Ekta Park in Jhansi with inputs from Nandita Dagar, Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, the normal life in Andhra Pradesh has been hit badly and people are locked inside their houses due to heavy downpour in the state in the last 2 days. The state has been witnessing heavy rains in Chittor, Nellore, Kadapa and Anantapur districts due to depression. The Rayalaseema districts of Chittor and Kadapa have been witnessing a worst deluge in years as heavy rains caused by the depression in the Bay of Bengal. Depressions have hit the landfall in the wee hours today, resulting in continuous downpour in parts of Chittor and Kadapa along with Anantapur. According to officials, so far 8 bodies have been recovered in Tirupati. Rains have started again this morning after a brief gap yesterday. Most part of the city is lacking power supply as electric poles, transformers have been badly hit. Well, since night, NDRF and SDRF teams have been working on rescue operations in Rajampet. There has been a breach to the earth buds which resulted in heavy flooding in nearby areas. It is yet to ascertain the exact numbers. In Nellore's Guddur district, massive waterlogging resulted in traffic jams on the highway. Somasela Dam is full and officials will open the gates and 6,000 cusecs of water will be released into the sea. This will be the first time in more than 20 years that such a thing has taken place. In Anantapur, at least 10 people were stranded in the Penna river of Anantapur district due to heavy rains. A car overturned in the Chitravati river in Vellur Tidi village in Chennai Kotapalli zone. 6 others went to the rescue of the 4 people in it. Well, yesterday evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi telephoned Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan. He inquired about the heavy rains in the state and the aftermath. Chief Minister Jagan Reddy briefed Prime Minister on the situation in the state and also the situation. Spoke to Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Garu on the situation in the wake of the heavy rainfall in parts of the state, assured all possible support from the centre. I pray for everybody's well-being and safety. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Reddy will conduct an aerial survey of the flood-affected areas in the state today. He will conduct an aerial survey of the heavily rain-affected areas including Kadapa, Chittor and Nellore. He will also review the current situation through video conference with the respective district collectors of that region. Well, Telangana meanwhile, neighbouring state of Telangana meanwhile heaved a sigh of relief and could avert rains as the low pressure which turned into a depression moved far away from the state. Hyderabad Met Office said that the depression which crossed the coast between Chennai and Puducherry yesterday is moving in the west and northwesterly direction and is getting weakened into a severe low pressure. Under its influence, moderate rains coupled are expected in unified Nalgonda, Rangareddy and Mahbubnagar districts in Telangana with heavy rains at 1 or 2 places in the next 2 days. Meanwhile, South Central Railway has cancelled several trains as railway tracks are damaged due to incessant rains in Andhra Pradesh, particularly in south coastal areas. Several trains were also diverted. But for more updates on the story, I've got M. Srinivas joining us on the phone line from Vijayawada there. Srinivas, good morning. Welcome to News on the Hour. You know, there is mayhem in South India, especially when it comes to rain. Bring us latest, especially with the casualty numbers, in Andhra Pradesh with regards to how things have developed overnight.
Yeah, the casualty numbers may increase by 12 o'clock today, and we are getting news from Anantapur where 2 buildings were collapsed early in the morning and at least 3 people have died. There is a confirmed number on this. and 15 people were there inside those two buildings, and 6 were rescued from the building.
Okay.
It was an old building. Due to the heavy rain, the buildings were collapsed today early morning, and there are 2 kids in the in the death number. Like one is a 2 years old, another is a 3 years old. So this is very, very bad news or sad news we are getting from Anantapur. This regarding to Anantapur. Coming to Tirupati, where the rain is continuing, and we are getting information that one person was washed away, and there is no whereabouts of this person. Officials are still trying to trace this person in Tirupati. Coming to Kadapa, where a couple of buses were stranded in a flood. There 8 people were dead, and around 30 people were rescued. And there was in Rajampet, there was a breach in a earthburn where a flood-like situation has happened in nearby areas. And since last night onwards, NDRF has been in there and doing all the rescue working. Probably by 12 today, we may have some concrete numbers on casualties in Anantapur.
Okay, please
Nellore,
please complete.
Yeah, coming to Nellore, we don't have any casualties there, but there are there is a heavy rain is going on. There is a flood-like situation in some parts. Somasila is getting huge water from its low-lying areas downstreaming, and they are releasing water into the sea. And coming to all the deaths regarding the death ex gratia, CM has announced 5 lakh rupees for dead people, family. Okay. And those who are gone into shelters or rehabilitation centers, they will be given 2,000 rupees as an ex gratia.
Okay.
By 10:30 or 10:40, CM will be going to aerial survey today, and probably by 12 he will be returning to Vijayawada.
Okay.
These are the latest updates we have, Thomas.
Okay. Also, just bring us abreast with what's happening, especially when it comes to the Balaji temple premises near Tirupati. What's the situation there?
Yeah, regarding Balaji temple, now it's open, the services are resumed, and there is one Ghat road which is reopened, where they are allowing four-wheelers, not two-wheelers. Two-wheelers have been asked to go back, and there is a trek road which is like foot road, where people will walk to the temple, up to the temple place. That has been closed because it's got severely damaged due to this heavy rain. It may take 4 or 5 days to restore that road.
Okay.
So, that's what is Tirupati update. People are, they were coming to Renigunta airport, which is resumed its services. That's what we are told by the authorities there. And trains are cancelled to Tirupati. All the south central trains are cancelled to Tirupati in the Rayalaseema areas. Most of these tracks have got damaged. So that is the update. However, bus services are working in Tirupati city and other places also. And regarding this electricity problem in Tirupati, almost entire city apparently is in power cut. Officials are working in day and out, but things are not improving there because there was a heavy rain, and it's still continuing as we are talking.
Also, one thing that I would like to know, purely in terms of this sudden deluge of water, how has been the administration, especially when it comes to managing these areas? You made a mention about the Chief Minister taking an aerial survey, but purely on ground zero, what is the helpline numbers that have been put in place, especially for people to find their loved ones who are lost? Considering that we've seen a sudden deluge of rain and mayhem there in the state of Andhra Pradesh.
True. The people, officials are on ground and they're working daily. Every hour there, Commissioner of Tirupati was there on ground to oversee the rehabilitation or rescue works, and collectors of the various districts are instructing officials at district level, block level to be there at ground level and ensure everybody gets a rehabilitation or everybody in a safe place. And coming to Chittoor district, where 38 rehabilitation centers were set up and around 4,000 people were accommodated in them. So that is what happening in Chittoor. And in other places also they are doing a similar thing. And we have one number which is 1077, which works in Tirupati town for 24/7. They have established this call center for 24 hours working condition. And in other districts also, local officials have gave the numbers to the local channels and reporters, and they're displaying the numbers through social media also.
Okay, and okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this morning, giving us an insight, especially into the current state in Andhra Pradesh. There, we've seen monsoon mayhem there hitting the whole of South India. We earlier saw it in the state of Tamil Nadu, now the states of Karnataka, the state of Telangana slightly, and also the state of Andhra Pradesh there severely being hit by this depression that's been formed in the Bay of Bengal. Let's now stay with that monsoon mayhem but shift state from Andhra. Let's now move to Karnataka, where the IMD has forecast heavy rain in Bangalore for the next 4 consecutive days. Bangalore municipality has set up more than 60 control rooms in the city and have deployed thousands of rescue teams and civil volunteers. Due to heavy rains on Thursday night, houses were flooded in many areas and roads were also submerged in water. Some areas of Bengaluru received 135 millimeters of torrential rains. Similar situation has arisen in other districts of the state. Chief Minister Bomoy has taken stock of the situation after meeting with all district officials and assured all possible help to the farmers by estimating the loss being faced by them. Bangalore Municipal Commissioner there has told DD India that Chennai-like conditions will not be allowed in Bangalore and people will be shifted to safer places if necessary. Well, for more, moving on to the next story, we'll try and get an update there from Karnataka too. But now moving on to the next story, an Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopter evacuated 10,000 stranded in the fast and flowing rising waters of the Chitravati River in Anantapur district of Andhra. The rescue was carried out by winching operation. On receiving a distress request from the state government, the helicopter took off from Air Force Station Yelahanka in Bengaluru at a short notice and reached the rescue site negotiating inclement weather conditions. After rescuing all the 10 stranded passengers from the overflowing river, the helicopter was recovered at Puttaparthi due to inclement weather. Well, weather conditions there in South India not looking good, and we pray and hope that there is not much of damage that is seen, and we pray for everyone's safety down there in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, along with Kerala and Karnataka there. Well, time now for us to slip into a short breather here on DD India. On the other side, lots more stories on News on the Hour. Stay tuned with DD India.
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.
Welcome back to News on the Hour. Now taking a look, staying with southern India, but going to Tamil Nadu, where an impressive parade marked the passing out of 153 cadets from the portals of the Indian Army's Officers Training Academy in Chennai this morning. The cadets included 25 cadets from friendly neighboring countries of Afghanistan, Bhutan and the Maldives. Rainy weather failed to dampen the spirits of the cadets. The Vice Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General C.P. Mohanty, reviewed the parade. The Sword of Honor for Best All-Round Performance and Gold Medal were presented to Cadet Siddhant.
The Chief of Army Staff was introduced last term onwards and has now become immediately in front of you. Onto the left and right are the stepping stones with the words Pehla Kadam etched in them. The young officers on parade today stand and a new beginning for a journey that will take them towards honor, pride and sacrifice. They will start
highlighting the increasing opportunities for women in the armed forces, Lieutenant General C.P. Mohanty said they were on the cusp of transformational change both at the organizational and individual level. He urged the cadets to keep honing their skills to face the challenges posed by hegemonic countries in the neighborhood. A proud moment for the cadets and also their loved ones, as in this age of selfies, those people taking their first step, especially in safeguarding our country. Moving on, based on a BSF intelligence regarding an improvised explosive device or IED bomb, the search with the help of mine detector and explosive checking dog confirmed an IED concealed along the roadside pavement near Pujari Put Chowk in district Koraput in Odisha. The IED bomb has been successfully demolished by the bomb disposal squad. Well, time now to shift focus and take a look at that pandemic and the COVID-19 situation across the country. In India, the recovery of 11,787 patients in the last 24 hours has increased that cumulative tally of recovered patients since the beginning of the pandemic to 3,39,09,708. Consequently, India's recovery rate now currently stands at 98.29%. Sustained and collaborative efforts by the centre and the states along with union territories continue the trend of less than 50,000 daily new cases that has been reported for 146 consecutive days now. 10,302 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours and the active caseload currently stands at 1,24,868. That's the lowest in 531 days. Active cases presently constitute 0.36% of the country's total positive cases, which is the lowest since March 2020. Testing capacity meanwhile across the country continues to expand. A total of 10,72,863 tests being conducted in the last 24 hours. India has so far conducted over 63 crore 5 lakh tests for COVID-19 across the length and breadth of the country. Testing capacity getting enhanced across the country. The weekly positivity rate at 0.93% remains less than 2% for the last 57 days. The daily positivity rate reported to be 0.96% remained below 2% for the last 47 days. Recovery rate currently at 98.29%, which is the highest since March 2020. Well, time now to take a look at that vaccination story in India. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 115 crore 79 lakh landmark milestone. Cumulatively, India has now completed 115 crore 79 lakh 69,274 jabs being administered so far in India. More than 51 lakh 59,000 vaccine doses being administered on the 308th day of the country's largest vaccination program on Friday, out of which 16 lakh 86,596 people were given the first dose, while 34 lakh 73,335 beneficiaries were administered the second dose on Friday. The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, that's AIIB, has approved another $150 million loan to the Government of India for implementation of the Sustainable Urban Services Program for Chennai metropolitan area. AIIB Vice President Investment Operations Dr. DJ Pandian, while speaking to Prasar Bharati special correspondent exclusively, said that India is the largest beneficiary of AIIB and that the bank has so far approved 29 projects in India worth $6.8 billion. He told another 27 projects worth $5 billion are in the pipeline for India, including the Haryana Orbital Railway project, which would be a circular railway to national capital Delhi, multi-corridor transport project in Mumbai, and the digital education project in Gujarat. He further informed that AIIB will soon approve a $500 million project for COVID-19 vaccination in India.
We have approved 29 projects amounting to $6.8 billion. India is the largest beneficiary out of AIB. India is the second largest shareholder, and so we work very closely with the Government of India. According to their infrastructure requirements, we finance number of projects. Mostly, we have a lot of projects in the metro, in the urban transport. We have one more metro to be approved in Chennai. We have one metro project to be approved in Mumbai.
Well, Dr. Pandian hailed the leadership of Prime Minister for India's infrastructure push.
Under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Government of India has come out with a big pipeline amounting to more than 2 trillion. And whatever AIB can do in support of this pipeline, in strengthening the infrastructure in India, we will do our best. AIB is committed to that. So we will work with the Government of India very closely and to spread this infrastructure development across the country.
The Chennai metropolitan area project will cover the core urban services including water resource management, water supply and sewerage, along with urban mobility, solid waste management and public health. It looks at operationalizing KUMTA to coordinate different modes of transport and are working on 2 metro lines, connectivity with local train system, airports, bus stations, private transport like auto, etc. to be done in a holistic manner. The total project cost is $701 million, out of which AIIB and World Bank each will provide $150 million each. Rest of the cost will be borne by the government of Tamil Nadu. AIIB in September approved a $356.67 million loan for the construction of a new corridor in Chennai's metro network as part of Chennai Metro Rail Phase 2 project. Well, it's 20th of November today. Every day on DD India, we bring you a special story on India's glorious freedom struggle, which is relevant to this day. In today's edition of the Saga of Freedom Struggle, we remember Mahatma Gandhi's Satyagraha in South Africa and great warrior and the ruler of the erstwhile kingdom of Mysore, Tipu Sultan, on his birth anniversary. Let's take a look.
On 20th November 1902, Gandhiji went back to South Africa at the request of the Indian community and revived the fight against anti-Asian laws. One such legislation, Asiatic Law Amendment Act, forced the Indians in the Transvaal province to get registered with the Registrar of Asiatics, submit to physical examinations, provide fingerprints, and carry a registration certificate at all times. Otherwise, Indians and other Asiatics, as they were called, could be fined, imprisoned, or deported.
It came to be known as Black Act. When the certificate offices opened on July the 1st, 1907, registrars picketed outside the offices and dissuaded passing Indians from registering. They gathered support for non-cooperation in temples, mosques and churches. Initially known as the Passive Resistance Campaign, Gandhiji coined the term Satyagraha as an alternative name. At the closing of registration, only 511 out of the 13,000 Indians in the region had registered.
In January 1908, Gandhiji was arrested. The jails were filling rapidly with satyagrahis refusing to register. Later that month, military leader General J.C. Smuts was forced to negotiate. With Gandhiji and other campaign leaders in prison, General Smuts presented an ultimatum. If Indians would register voluntarily, the Black Act would be repealed and prisoners released. Gandhiji agreed on behalf of the campaign.
After word of the deal spread, some campaigners felt betrayed. In the middle of February, Gandhiji was attacked and injured by a group of angered satyagrahis on his way to the registration office. He reiterated his trust in General Smuts and registered himself. Soon after, Smuts introduced a bill validating the voluntary registrations but did not keep his word about the Black Act. Gandhiji gave him until August the 16th, 1908 to fulfill his promise and repeal the act.
Gandhiji's leadership was accepted for the next phase in the struggle. The last ultimatum was sent to General Smuts: repeal the Black Act or registration certificates will be burnt. Ultimately, 2,000 registration certificates were burnt by satyagrahis in a giant fire.
20th of November is also the birth anniversary of the great anti-British warrior and the ruler of the erstwhile kingdom of Mysore, Tipu Sultan. He was born as Sultan Fateh Ali Sahab Tipu in 1750 in Devanahalli, Bengaluru. He was the oldest son of Sultan Hyder Ali of Mysore. Tipu was trained to be a warrior from his early teens, and he accompanied his father on campaigns against rivals such as the British East India Company.
Known as the Tiger of Mysore, he fought several successful wars against the East India Company, starting in 1766 when he participated in a campaign at the age of 15. In 1780, Tipu defeated Colonel Bailey of the East India Company at the Battle of Pollilore. The following year, he seized Chittor from the British, and in 1782, he defeated Colonel Braithwaite at the Battle of Annagudi near Tanjore.
Tipu was a pioneer in the use of rocket artillery. He deployed the rockets against British forces and their allies in their 1792 and 1799 siege of Srirangapatna and during the other Anglo-Mysore wars. After his defeat in 1799, the British shipped these weapons to Britain to replicate them through reverse engineering. Napoleon, the French commander-in-chief who later became emperor, sought an alliance with Tipu.
Tipu was a believer in international trade and sent trade delegations to Afghanistan, Iran, Turkey and Myanmar. He rationalized the administrative system and encouraged the local industries. He introduced a new coinage, a new calendar and a new land revenue system, which initiated the growth of Mysore silk industry. Tipu is also credited with modernization of the army, roads and irrigation system. He built the first road network in Malabar in Kerala. Tipu was killed in May 1799 while defending his fort at Srirangapatna against the British forces.
Well, after taking a look at all the national stories, it's time now to shift focus to international stories and taking first look at COVID-19 updates from across the world. COVID-19 cases continue to soar world over. 25 crores, 69 lakh cases of COVID-19. Total recoveries, 23 crores, 19 lakh. Total deaths or fatalities across the world, 51 lakh. 55,000 deaths being reported. The United States continues to remain the worst affected by the pandemic, both in terms of infections as well as fatalities. 4 crore 85 lakh cases of COVID-19 in United States. The death toll now inching towards that 8 lakh mark, standing above 7 lakh 90,000. Well, days after Austria imposed a lockdown on the unvaccinated, it has announced a full national COVID-19 lockdown starting on Monday. The measures are yet to be finalized, and the Chancellor Alexander Schallenberg said it will last a maximum of 20 days and there would be a legal requirement to get vaccinated from the 1st of February next year. The lockdown rules will, however, be reassessed after 10 days. He was responding to record case numbers and one of the lowest vaccination levels in Western Europe. Many other European countries are imposing restrictions as cases rise. A record number of 15,809 cases have been reported in the last 24 hours in Austria, in a population of under 9 million people. Neighboring Germany too has seen several days of record infections this week, and there is a national emergency that's been declared there, especially in the European superpower Germany. Moving to Netherlands, where protests took place against the government plans to restrict access for unvaccinated people to some venues. The government has said it wants to introduce a law that would allow businesses to restrict the country's coronavirus pass system to people who are fully vaccinated or have recovered from COVID-19, which would exclude people who test negative. Netherlands reimposed some lockdown measures last weekend for an initial 3 weeks in an effort to slow the resurgence of COVID-19 contagion, but daily infections have remained at the highest levels since the start of the pandemic. Cases are also rising across Europe thanks to a combination of low vaccine uptake, waning immunity among people inoculated early, and growing complacency about masks and distancing after governments relaxed curbs over the summer. In Belgium, hospitals are at a risk of resorting to ethical prioritizing as intensive care units fill up amid soaring COVID-19 numbers. Doctors are aggressively calling on the government to restrict nightlife activities. Further staffing is under more pressure than it was in the first and second wave of the pandemic, partly due to staff illness, meaning that the hospital cannot make use of all its beds. Belgium tightened its coronavirus restrictions on Wednesday, mandating the wider use of masks and enforcing work from home as cases spiked in the country's fourth COVID-19 wave. Nightclubs may have to test their guests if they want to let them dance mask-free. Shifting from Europe to South America, where deforestation in Brazil's Amazon rainforest soared 22% in a year to the highest level since 2006. This is as per a government's 2021 report that raises worries with environmentalists. Brazil's Space Research Agency, INPE, recorded 13,235 square kilometers of deforestation in the world's largest rainforest in its broad satellite data, an area nearly 17 times the size of New York City. According to the spokesperson for the Amazon at Greenpeace Brazil, Christian Mazzetti, the damages reflect just how impactful the anti-environment policies of Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro's government have been. She added that the situation could get worse if proposals to change the legislation that are currently being discussed in the National Congress are approved. Brazil's government brought forward a pledge to end illegal deforestation by 2 years to 2028 as part of the country's COP26 commitments. Back in Europe and Britain, Britain's Interior Minister Priti Patel has banned the Palestinian militant group Hamas in a move that brings the UK stance on Gaza rulers in line with the United States and the European Union. Hamas will be banned under the Terrorist Act, and anyone expressing support for the organization, flying its flag or arranging meetings for Hamas will be in breach of the law. Patel is expected to present the change to Parliament next week. Hamas has political and military wings. Founded in 1987, it opposes the existence of Israel and peace talks, instead advocating armed resistance against Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territory. Until now, Britain has banned only its military arm, the Izz al-Din al-Qassam Brigade. Hamas is on the US list for designated foreign terrorist organizations. The European Union also deems it is a terrorist movement.
Important step, especially for the Jewish community. Hamas is fundamentally and rabidly anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitism is an enduring evil which I will never tolerate. Jewish people routinely feel unsafe at school, in the streets, when they worship, in their homes and online. This step will strengthen the case against anyone who waves a Hamas flag in the United Kingdom, an act that is bound to make Jewish people and the community feel unsafe. Anyone who supports or invites support for a prescribed organization is breaking the law. That now includes Hamas in whatever form it takes.
Well, reacting on the Britain's move, Hamas officials said it showed absolute bias towards the Israeli occupation. In a statement, Hamas said that resisting occupation by all available means, including armed resistance, is a right granted to people under occupation as stated by the international law. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett welcomed the decision, saying in a social media post, Hamas is a terrorist organization, simply put. The political arm enables its military activity. Hamas and Israel have clashed most recently in a deadly 11-day conflict in May this year. Moving to the Nicaraguan government that has initiated on Friday the process of withdrawing from the Organization of American States after the regional body denounced recent elections as illegitimate. Nicaragua's foreign minister said that the OAS was designed as a political and diplomatic forum born under the influence of the United States as an instrument of interference and intervention. In response, the OAS adopted a resolution saying Nicaragua's election lacked democratic legitimacy. 25 nations voted in favor and 7 abstained, including Mexico, Honduras and Bolivia. Sudan's protesters performed on Friday a congressional prayer for those killed during protests on Wednesday. The prayers were followed by a march on the streets of Omdurman against the military rule. Security forces shot dead at least 15 people and wounded dozens as thousands of Sudanese took to the streets on Wednesday, on the deadliest day in a month of demonstrations against military rule. Poland, meanwhile, has accused Belarus on Friday of trucking hundreds of migrants back to the border and pushing them in an attempt to cross illegally. Many migrants are now sheltering in a logistics center in Bruzgi village of Belarus. The first repatriation flight in months returned hundreds of migrants to Iraq on Thursday. Well, people across Japan almost observed a lunar eclipse on Friday night. A lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, earth and moon are aligned so that the moon passes into the sun's shadow. At the climax, almost the entire moon appeared dark red, while the tiny section of it that was not covered by the earth remained a glowing white. A number of people watched the phenomenon through telescopes and took photographs. Moving to sports, and in cricket, Indian cricket team back to winning ways, and they'll be defeating New Zealand by 7 wickets in the second T20 to take an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series at the Jamshedpur International at the JSCA International Stadium in Ranchi on Friday night. Put into bat first, Kiwis posted a total of 153 runs, losing 6 wickets. Batsman Glenn Phillips top scored for New Zealand with 34. Openers Martin Guptill and Daryl Mitchell hit 31 apiece. Indian debutant Harshal Patel, who scalped 2 wickets, was the man of the match. In reply, the host overhauled the target for the loss of 3 wickets in 17.2 overs, riding on vice-captain KL Rahul's 65 and Rohit Sharma's 55. The third and final T20 will be played in Kolkata tomorrow. The T20 series will be followed by the 2-match test series. While two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu continued a stellar run at the Indonesia Masters, Sindhu defeated Igit of Turkey 21-13, 21-10 on Friday to reach the semi-finals. Sindhu won the match in just 35 minutes. Earlier, she had defeated Igit in the Denmark Open as well. Sindhu will face Akane Yamaguchi of Japan in the semi-finals later today. Over to the men's sections, Kidambi Srikanth made it to the semi-finals. Srikanth defeated compatriot HS Pranoy 21-7, 21-18 in the quarter-final match. Kidambi Srikanth will take on Anders Antonsen of Denmark in the semi-finals in the last match of the day. Moving to Indian International Trade Fair, which is underway and open to public. A large number of visitors are reaching India International Trade Fair this year. The number of spectators at the fair has brought a smile to the face of the business class. Exhibitors from Bahrain are also very excited about the fair. Azamgarh Sari worth 1.5 lakh rupees and 15 types of honey catching attractions at the IITF 2021. Let's take a look.
The 40th India International Trade Fair opened for general public yesterday at Pragati Maidan in Delhi. IITF, which is back after a gap of a year at the revamped exhibition halls, is being held amidst strict COVID-19 protocols, including mandatory wearing of masks, social distancing and sanitizer machines at various points in place. Large number of people thronged the trade fair while bringing much needed relief for around 3,000 exhibitors from 20 states, 3 union territories and 9 countries. Exhibitors believe that the International Trade Fair is a platform that directly connects the product to the customer.
काफ़ी भीड़ आई है और बहुत अच्छा रिस्पांस मिला है और फीडबैक भी अच्छा दिया है कि जैसे 5 सालों से कस्टमर यूज़ कर रहे हैं प्रोडक्ट, तो उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा हम लोगों को फीडबैक दिया है। कोविड-19 की वजह से जो 2 साल रहा है वो बहुत टफ रहा है, तो ये बिल्कुल इंतजार था। जैसे ही हमने सुना कि वो ओपन हो रहा है तो हमने उनको एनरोल कराया और आगे भी हम आते रहेंगे। एक कस्टमर का डायरेक्ट फीडबैक मिलता है कंपनी को, इससे अच्छा कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता।
Exhibitors from abroad including Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bahrain, Kyrgyzstan, Tunisia and Turkey are quite enthralled to be back after a gap of a year. They say that IITF offers an ideal platform to showcase their unique products and build good business relations.
व्यापारी वर्ग के लिए ये मंच जो है बहुत अच्छा है, क्योंकि इसमें हर शुरू के दिनों में हाई फाई लोग आते हैं और जो मिडिल में है उसमें नॉर्मल लोग आते हैं, तो हर तरह के। और हम लोगों ने जो परफ्यूम रखा हुआ है वो हर तरह का है, यानी सस्ता भी है महंगा भी है। हम लोग की प्लानिंग भी है इंशाल्लाह यहाँ पे शोरूम वगैरह खोलने की, या अगर कोई डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर मिल जाता है तो उसके साथ इंशाल्लाह करेंगे, ऑनलाइन करेंगे।
15 different varieties of honey are a center of attraction at the trade fair this time. Stalls with plum, lychee and tulsi flavored honey are being liked much here.
जो नेचर की चीज़ें हैं, जो डिफरेंट वेराइटीज़ ऑफ हनी है, हर सीज़न के एतबार से बीज क्या करती है कि अलग अलग फूलों से नेक्टर कलेक्ट करती है। तो जैसे सरसों का सीज़न होता है तो सरसों के फूल से लाती है रस, तो वो सरसों का शहद है। इस तरह से लीची का होता है, तुलसी का होता है, जामुन का होता है, तो इसके अलग अलग फ़ायदे हैं। तो वो चीज़ हम लोगों को प्रोवाइड करते हैं उनके हेल्थ के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से।
Traders from Azamgarh in Uttar Pradesh have displayed saris ranging from mere 190 rupees to a whopping 1.5 lakh rupees at the fair too.
हमारे वहाँ जो A to Z साड़ियाँ बनती है, इससे 195 से स्टार्ट हो जाती है और हम लोग बनाते हैं करीब 1.5-2 लाख रुपए तक की साड़ियाँ। हमारी साड़ियों की खासियत ये है कि हमारा जो बहुत पुराना काम है, ये मतलब आप देखें तो 1600 ईस्वी से तो हमारा मतलब हिस्ट्री मिलती है। हम लोग हैंडलूम पे काम करते आ रहे हैं। अभी जो बॉलीवुड में जो न्यू कमर्स हैं, अभी जो शादी हो रही है, वो सब बनारसी साड़ी को ही ज़्यादा प्रीफर्ड कर रहे हैं। और अनुष्का शर्मा जी हो चाहे ऐश्वर्या राय जी, उन्होंने भी हमसे साड़ी बनवा चुकी है हमारे वहाँ से। और शबाना आजमी जी जो कि हमारे आजमगढ़ के ही हैं, तो जो डिज़ाइनर है बॉलीवुड में मनीष मल्होत्रा, उनके माध्यम से हम लोग का काफ़ी बॉलीवुड में अच्छा खासा टचअप है, काफ़ी माल जाता है हमारा।
The trade fair will conclude on 27th November. The theme of this year is Atmanirbhar Bharat. With Bureau Inputs, Girish Nishana's report for DD India.
Where Goa is all set to host the 52nd edition of the International Film Festival of India from today. This year, IFFI has a mega lineup of star-studded movie extravaganza. Let's take a look.
The 52nd edition of the International Film Festival of India kickstarts in Goa today. The 9-day festival will continue till the 28th of November. For the first time ever, films from 5 BRICS nations will be showcased through the BRICS Film Festival alongside IFFI. Talking about veteran actress and MP Hema Malini and renowned lyricist Prasoon Joshi being honoured with the IFFI Personality of the Year award, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said that they are Indian cinematic icons who are admired and respected the world over.
52nd IFFI अपने आप में बहुत कुछ नया लेकर आया है और कोविड-19 पैंडेमिक के चलते जो चुनौतियां थी उसके रहते हुए भी सब प्रयास किए गए ताकि देश और दुनिया की बड़ी बड़ी फिल्म्स को भी यहाँ पर लाया जाए, OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स को भी लाया जाए और यहाँ तक कि इस बार के इंडियन फिल्म पर्सनालिटी ऑफ द ईयर हेमा मालिनी जी और प्रसून जोशी जी, ये दोनों भी यहाँ पर आएंगे। और इसके अलावा जो सत्यजीत रे इंटरनेशनल फिल्म पर्सनालिटी है, उसको कहें कि लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड की जब हम बात करते हैं तो अमेरिकन फिल्म मेकर मार्टिन स्कॉर्सेसी को और जो हमारे हंगेरियन फिल्म मेकर हैं स्टीवान सुजाबो को, इनको भी लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड मिला है और दोनों ने उसको मंजूरी भी दी अपनी ओर से उसको ग्रहण करने के लिए। ये अपने आप में हमारे लिए बड़ी बात है और ये पहली बार हो रहा है कि ब्रिक्स फिल्म फेस्टिवल भी IFFI के साथ साथ होगा, तो दुनिया के 5 देशों की पिक्चर्स को भी गोवा में दिखाने का अवसर मिलेगा IFFI के साथ साथ।
For the first time, OTT platforms will showcase the popular series in this year's IFFI. The 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow initiative has also been taken, wherein the chosen filmmakers will get a chance to attend all the master classes with the travel and accommodation cost being borne by the government. While COVID-19 restrictions will still be in place to a certain extent, the 52nd edition of IFFI promises to be a tremendous and gala affair. IFFI this year is being organized under the broad theme of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The festival will showcase around 300 films from across India and the world in many genres, as also masterclasses and in-conversation sessions with some of the best minds in filmdom. With inputs from Rukma Datta in Goa, Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, IFFI starts today, and if you are a film buff, this is the place that you need to be to enjoy cinematic excellence there. Well, on that note, it's time for me to say goodbye, but let's take a look at that opening premiere today that's going to take place at IFFI, the 52nd edition of IFFI, the King of All the World. That's going to be the film that's going to be the opening international premiere, the Spanish musical there, co-produced, directed and written by Carlos Saura. Take a look at those visuals, enjoy, have a safe and wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.
Qué duro es nuestro pasado, lleno de muerte y de violencia. ¿Qué quieres de mí, Manuel?
Tú has sufrido ese terrible accidente.
¿Es en serio?
Sí, en la obra que yo he escrito tendrás que interpretar a una mujer del mundo del espectáculo que es bailarina y coreógrafa.
¿Yo tengo que estar en una silla de ruedas?
Sí.